Hello and welcome to another video on Pydini doing stuff and filming it. Now, for those of you that didn't read the title of the video before clicking on it, this is part 3 of a 4-part series on getting my old Corsa running. I'll leave links in the description to the first 2 parts. I mean, if you want to just go straight in at part 3 you can do, but I mean, there may be some stuff that doesn't make sense. You may question why I'm doing certain things. Yeah, go back and watch parts 1 and 2 first, then come back to this. The video will still be here when you get back, so yeah, go and give it a watch. Anyway, let's get on with part 3, and we actually do make some progress in this. Kind of. No, we do, I promise. Probably. Alright, I'm going to do a little bit more of the course this afternoon. I know, Bella, we'll go outside in a minute. Now, you'll probably notice I'm here in the porch. The reason being is I thought I'd film this bit before going out in the wind. It's quite a windy day. Now, I was planning today on pulling out those spark plugs and testing, seeing if we're getting any decent spark. Getting one of those little bits of kits, you know, that flashes if there's spark going through to your spark plug. You basically just plug it in line. Unfortunately, I went to the local motor factors in Mildenhall. They didn't have either. I drove all the way over to Euro Car Parts. They didn't have either anyway. The soonest I could get one was actually off eBay, and it's going to be about 5 days to a week, which is really fucking annoying because I don't get many days off. Now, this is my only day off this week. I'm on a 6-day week, and we can't really do anything. That was until I was driving home from Dunwich yesterday, and I came across this. Now, although we were going to go down the route of testing the spark, I'm still leaning towards this being fuel. We're just not getting the fuel to the engine. I don't quite know why, it's just that's what my gut tells me with it. You know, we had no fuel in it, or there may have just been sludge in it, so it's not getting through. And I was thinking about it. What, Bella? We'll go in a minute. And I was thinking about it. We sprayed the WD-40 and the brake cleaner in it. They are both flammable, but we only sprayed a little bit, and they're not really meant for what we were trying to use them for. This is how to do exactly that. It says in the instructions, which I'm not going to read out, but for petrol engines, you spray it in for 1 to 2 seconds, then turn the engine over. I think I sprayed maybe half a second at the most with the other bits, and they're not made for it, so that probably was never going to work. So yeah, we're going to do this. Now, I know there's a number of naysayers outlets there that say, oh, if you get this within 6 feet of any internal combustion engine, it will explode, and you will explode, and your dog will explode, and your wife will run off and shag the postman, and it's like, A, no, it won't, and B, no, it won't. Yeah, let's just give it a go. Let's just see. And in theory, using this, it will run for maybe a second or 2 seconds, or give some indication that it's trying to start, and that will tell us that we are getting spark. It is capable of burning fuel, and we have a fueling issue. If we do this a few times and it still won't have it, then I suppose we do have to accept that we may have a spark issue. But yeah, I want to give this a try now. I apologise for any wind noise. I'll try and shelter the camera as best I can, but yeah, as you can see, stuff blowing around next door's garden. It's a pretty breezy day. So let's go and give it a go. Tell you what, while we're here, let's check the voltage on that nice shiny battery that I bought as well. It's been a week since I put it in, so 12.1. Considering all the cranking we were doing last time, that's about right. What we'll do a quick turn over. If nothing else, it'll remind us how much it sounds like. You watch the fucking thing, I'll go and start now. that stinks. Give it a try. Success! Let's do that again. Right, that may not seem like much to some, but that is significant. We know the engine can run, and we know the fault lies in the fueling. See, this is how like old school diagnostics work. None of this plugging it in and it's almost a fucking sensor that needs replacing. Process of elimination, we've done air, and by introducing a new type of fuel through the air, we know that the spark is working. So we then need to go to the back of the car and we'll start attacking the fuel system. I'm going to start at the fuel pump end because why not? So yeah, I'm happy with that. Now I know it sounded somewhat unhealthy, a bit clattery. That's just because it's got really old engine oil and it hasn't run in such a long time. Once we get it running normally, that will probably clear up within a few seconds once it gets the oil pumped around the engine. And once it is running, one of the first things we're going to do is change the oil anyway. But for now, we just want to know that it will run, which it apparently will. I'm proper fucking happy now. Right, I need to get some kit together and we're going to start attacking that fuel system. Okay, right, so there's two methods of approaching this now. There's one that I'm going to call the Ed China approach, which is something I picked up when I was watching him. He's been restoring an old Range Rover, 1980s Range Rover for, well, better part of a year as far as I can tell. Or there's the Rain Man Ray approach, which is another YouTuber that I follow. He's a mechanic over in Florida, does some really interesting videos as well. Now, we've kind of gone down the Rain Man approach using the Easy Start, because, well, he did that in order to diagnose a fuel pump on the car some time ago. What are you doing, Bella? Stop trying to climb the fence. And yeah, that allowed him to, that basically showed him what showed here, that the vehicle was capable of running if it had something to run on, so it was obviously a fueling issue. He did a number of wiring checks and jazz, and, you know, he has to be professional. And such like, and yeah, eventually he diagnosed a fuel pump and all the bloody tank had to come off and everything. Now, in the case in China's view, he took the approach of pulling off a fuel pipe and seeing if fuel is even getting to the engine. Now, we could do that, except all of that lot is in there, and you just know that like these bolts ain't coming out. So we're not going to do that. For that reason, and the fact that it's probably not going to tell us, we now know that there's no fuel getting to the engine, because it will run if you put fuel to it, but yeah. So what we're going to do instead, rather than start at the front, we may as well start at the back, and the reason behind it is, to my knowledge, there's not actually a right lot in here that can fail and stop it from running. You have things like fuel pressure regulators and there's an idle control valve, but it seems unlikely to me that they've gone. I'm thinking fuel pump at the back. Also, part of me is thinking that fuel pump's a lot easier to get to than all the crap that's in here. So we may as well start there and hope that it's that, because that will be a much easier repair. So what we're going to do, we're going to come round here, open up the boot. Oh, spider. Now the fuel pump is under that carpet. I did try and get into it the other day. It's sort of in that depression there that you can see. The problem is you go in through the front and you've got to climb over the seat base. or you're coming through the back, you've got to sort of straddle the back seats, because if you put them down, they then block what you're trying to get to. I'm going to make life easier on myself, and we're going to remove these seats. The question is, do we remove that bit or that bit? That is the question. Let's do some investigating and see which one's easiest to remove. Alright, so what is this held on with? Oh, that screw. That entire seat base, yep, is held on with a single screw. I know, Bella, I know. Are you wanting to get in at something? Alright, so if we remove this seat base, I mean, it's a 3-door, so I've still got to scramble over all this, but, I mean, yeah, that'll move forward. Pardon the rubbish, whatever. Alright, yeah, let's get this seat base out, because I can climb in here pretty easily now. Yeah, zoom out, you can see what I mean. Alright, let's give that a try. Yeah, we'll get the base out, and then if we still can't get to the pump properly, then we can always take the back out. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, so, undid the screws, both ends, and this thing is no more or less secure than it was. I fucking hate working on cars sometimes. Alright, spoke too soon. Turns out what you do, lift it up. Thank you, Bella. And then, oh, get out of the way, animal. And then I was able to just, you slot it down there. You can see better on that one. See what I mean? It was wedged in there and you basically brought it up and then down behind and the whole thing came out. Struggling to film this inside the car. I need a proper tripod that can like clamp in different places. More fucking money though, isn't it? Right, let's see if we can get this carpet out of the way and get proper access to this fuel pump. Get that out of the way. So this is our fuel pump. Now we're going to do a quick check. Now that we've got everything out of the way, I can do this properly. We're just going to turn the ignition on and see if we can hear anything from it. I don't know if you're going to hear anything because you're still outside the car. I haven't figured out a way of getting you in here yet. So, turn it on, see if we can hear anything. I didn't hear anything from the fuel pump then. There's no smells or anything. No. That little attempt I think was just a few bits of the easy start burning off. Right, here's what we're going to do. Going with the Rain Man Ray approach, sometimes they just get seized up, so a couple of bashes with a rubber mallet sometimes freeze them off. So try that again. It's done something. Come on, grab the camera and show you what it's done. As you can see, fuel light's gone out. The gauge has moved up. It wasn't moving earlier until I whacked it with a hammer. That's positive. Done something at least. We know that there is fuel in there now. Alright, let's try that again. This might be running today. Famous last words. It's not going to be running. I'm not that fucking lucky. Right, okay, so had a bit of a break, had a poo, and then a bite to eat. Too much information, I know, never mind.
Oh, that's nasty.
We're going to be doing this next bit on the, well, we're doing a fair bit of it on the selfie stick, so I apologise if it gets a bit wobbly. Now, whilst I was having a break, I looked up the price of a new fuel pump, They range from between about £30 and £130. Now, the £30 one I could probably stretch to and just go for it, just put a new one in and try it. Unfortunately, that's not available anywhere. The only one that's available is the £130 one, because reasons. So, before we condemn something so expensive, well, actually, before we condemn, even if it was 30 quid, I want to do all these checks anyway. We're going to make sure we're just going to run down, check the fuses. There's a relay on the other side of the car as well. We just want to make sure that we're actually getting power to the pump. And yeah, if there's power getting to the pump and the pump's not doing anything, then that's it. That is your causal part. So we'll start off. It is this one, which is number 26. It is 1, 2, 3 from the right. Now, in some pictures I saw online, it was a 10 amp, but in this one it's a 20, and the diagrams as well show as a 20. So I'll pull that out one-handed. Let's have a look at it. You see, that is intact. Now, before we put it in, though, we are going to check, see if we're getting voltage through there when we turn the ignition on. So, right, hopefully you can see that. Now, with the fuse out, this is actually the second time I'm doing this. I forgot to press record the first time. So we'll just put the little probes in the contacts for the fuse. Now, when I turn the ignition on, in theory, we'll see a voltage. Nothing. Yeah, no, getting nothing across there. Okay, right, let's go and check the relay then. Right, there was supposed to be some relays behind this panel. Why am I not surprised that there isn't? For fuck's sake. Oh, right, I know, Bella. Let's see if it's behind here then, shall we? It's not supposed to be behind here. It's supposed to be behind that kick panel that I just removed, but... oh, and of course... can't get the pissing screwdriver. Get off me, Bella. You're not helping. Fuck's sake. Different approach. Goes on there. Yeah. Wrong way. Right, there we go. And it reckons I don't feel any relays under there. That's because they are there. That's what I does. So I'm cocking around. There's a little cable here attached to the heater box. I wondered what it did. It's the recirculation flap. Right. After all that fucking around, I can't remember which one it is now. Nor can I figure out how much we're going to get in there to test it. Ah, there we go. Ah, there we go. Not sure if that's a design feature or a design flaw, but... contacts all look good. Oh, that one don't want to come out. Right, we'll leave that then for now. Right, let's go and look at which one it is and let's test that. Right, no, you're not helping. Come on. Trying to work here. Come on. Right. Lie down there then. Good girl. Here's what we're going to do. So we are going to, someone very helpfully just suggested, rather than taking it apart, just feel if it's working. I reckon it's the purple one. So I'll put my hand on there. I can definitely feel that coming on. But like, you're not helping. Yeah, I can feel that working. I feel the grey one working as well to some extent. Alright. So I think the relay is working. For some reason we're not getting voltage across that fuse, but that... Given that nothing in this car is where it's supposed to be electronically, I know, Bella. So, given that nothing in this car is where it's supposed to be, it may not even be the right fucking fuse. What is it, girl? What is it? Do the people of the internet want to see your face, do they? Yes. Yes, I know. Okay, right, let's put that back together. And we're going to check, see if we're getting voltage at the actual plug that goes into the fuel pump. Because if there's voltage there, then we know everything else is working, and it's just the pump. So yeah, let's do that. One thing to point out before we go any further, dogs are shit at driving cars. They're also shit at fixing cars. In fact, they're not very helpful for anything at all. All this one's good at is having big stupid ears. She is a good girl, that. Who's a good girl? Alright, it's getting kind of late now. So, I haven't recorded much of it because it's mostly just been me swearing and not saying very much else. And I've just sort of been climbing in and out of the car, poking at wires. Nothing very interesting. You can see we've taken this out again. I double checked it. The relay is still working. Checking the pins at the back. We're still getting a live feed from it as well. That seems to be working. We're still not getting any voltage at the fuse, which is curious. But we are getting... Hello, Bella. We are getting power at the plug. I've plugged it back in now. But yeah, we were getting power there as well. 10 volts, exactly 10 volts, every single time, which is interesting. Now, that may seem a little low. We get 11 at the relay. I mean, I haven't checked the battery voltage. We've been fighting around this car for a long time. I am going to... What on earth are you doing, Bella? Get out. Come on. I am going to go away, do a bit more research, see if there's any other tests I can do. But I think what we're going to have to do is, pull the fuel pump out. There it is. Pull the fuel pump out, and we're going to have to find a way to bench test it. I'm not overly keen on bench testing it whilst it's in situ, because try as I might, I cannot for the life of me find a wiring diagram that tells me what those 4 wires do. Brown appears to be earth. The others, according to some online sources, are all live, although only one of them seems to be. Yeah, beats me. And everyone else online seems to have different colour wiring to me. So, it's been fun and games so far. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there for today. I'm going to go away, do some research, and come back another day. Get that fuel pump out, and let's get it bench tested. I'm still leaning towards that needing replacing. But yeah, I want to run down my test before I start spending money on it. Alright, I'll be back in a good few days from my point of view. Back in about 10 seconds from your point of view. One positive, get it, positive, that's what we're doing electrical. One positive to having a decent battery on it is I can now lock the car. That's central locking, yeah. It's handy because I'm leaving a lot of crap in the back as well. Yeah, look at that. Okay, right, it's now the following day. I thought I'd do a bit of an update. Now, I was planning on pulling out the fuel pump and bench testing it, basically just running 12 volts straight through it, seeing if we can get any life in it whatsoever. I haven't done that yet, partly because when I take the fuel pump out, it then opens up the fuel tank, and well, my precious petrol is going to start evaporating at that point, and it's then going to fill this car with petrol fumes until I get a new one to put in it. So I don't want to do that just yet. I thought I'd just run through the electrics again, because it's bothering me that this relay appears to be working, but we don't get any voltage at the fuse. Now, that may be normal. I haven't been able to find any information as to whether it's normal or not. The fuse is intact, and whilst loads of people call it, the fuel pump fuse, the official designation from Vauxhall is fuel injection system fuse. So it's entirely possible that it's not supposed to receive any voltage until the vehicle's actually running. Why do you need the fuel injection system run until you start the car? So, yeah, I'm in two minds as to whether or not it's supposed to be doing that. A lot of people are saying, bridge the fuel pump relay and see if you can get the pump to run. Well, okay, so that's what we've done. We've bridged it as we said we would. The ignition is on, as you can see over there. If we touch these two wires together, that then completes the circuit, and we should hear the pump running, which we do not. Now, again, that is indicative of the fuel pump being shagged. I'm going to try once to bridge it and crank it, see if that does anything. Feeling that, yeah, we're going to have to get a fuel pump for it. Here we go, and hopefully I don't blow myself up. Right, so we'll hold those together as we turn on the nothing. Still no noise from the pump, which is frustrating. Let's just check something here. I'm going to do with three hands for this. Bella, don't climb in the car. Oh, you're climbing in the car, aren't you? Bloody hell. It could not be getting more in the way. Right, sit. No, you don't have to sit on me. You are a really unhelpful animal. Where did I put the fucking key? There it is. Put that down there. Hopefully that'll stay connected. And I'll hold this one with my hand. Interesting, we're only getting 0.2 of a volt across this. See if I turn this off. It doesn't immediately drop to 0, which is interesting. Alright, so we're only getting 0.2 volts with the relay bridged. I don't know if that's enough. If that's meant to be powering the fuel pump, that's not enough. But interestingly, there's nothing there when it's turned on. When it's turned off, rather. Okay, let's try a different approach. Okay, so here's my line of thinking. Now, the relay. What noise was that, Bella? Bloody hell, animal. I don't think you were dying. Now, the relay is still unplugged. Interestingly, though, the fuel gauge still works. Now, if I go in the back, over here, and unplug that connector to the fuel pump, the fuel gauge stops working, as you would expect. Which says to me that they're on separate circuits, which is fine. What I want to know is, with that relay taken out, has that voltage that I was getting at the connector gone away? Because if it has, then that tells us that, yeah, that tells us that the circuit is good to the pump, it's getting power, it's not doing anything. If with that disconnected, that 10 volts that I was only getting out of one wire is obviously to do with the gauge and not the pump. Because there's 4 wires. This one, number 3, is the earth. This one, number 4, is live, and the other 2 don't seem to do anything. So let's see how that's affected it. What the hell's wrong with it? There we go. Came off really easily. Now, I don't know if you can see here. I'll zoom it in the edit if I can. So, yeah, there's 4 wires. The brown one here, wire number 3 from my point of view at least, is earth. Brown is earth. These other 3 are supposed to be designated live for various purposes. However, if I connect the multimeter to pin number 3 here, and then the positive to the other 3, I only get a voltage on this one here, number 1, which is the blue and red. Now, if I connect positive to here, I can connect to any of these other 3 and I get the exact same voltage reading. The problem is the wiring diagram tells me nothing. I go online at people who've done stuff like this before. All the results I get are people who put in the C20 engines in, the 2 litres, which have different colour wiring. People are saying, oh, well, you know, that one goes to the relay. Well, I'm sorry, but there's 4 wires going into the back of the relay, and none of them are those colours. They don't even have the fucking brown one, which is really fucking annoying. So anyway, the plan is, get me a multimeter. So, in theory, with that relay unplugged, we should get 0 voltage to this, whichever way I play around with it. So, put that in there like that, and then that. So it's reading 0 at the moment. I'll try and put that so you can see it like that. Right, ignition on. So, exactly the same, 10 volts on 9.99. Let's try the others. Yeah, exactly the same. The results are unchanged, pulling that relay out. So, I have to conclude, therefore, so having that relay plugged in or not plugged in seems to make fuck all difference to this. And we've made no progress whatsoever. Alright, let's have a think, try something else. Right, so we'll come back round to this fuse here and testing there, 0 volts, which is what you'd expect. It's turned off. Right. So let's just try a crank with this on. Ha! Result. So that's doing what I thought it would do. I've plugged the relay back in, and when you turn it on, you get voltage coming through here. Don't we, Bella? Yes. Yes, we do. Right. So that circuit is working. We can plug that back in. Well, actually, I'll tell you what we'll do first. We'll unplug that relay again and see what difference that makes. Right, relay out. Voltmeter on. I keep calling it voltmeter. Well, it is, because that's about the only setting I ever use. So, relay out. 0 charge. Turn it on. Nothing. Let's try again. Exactly the same. That appears to be the most pointless relay ever. It seems to make no difference whether it's there or not. But then again, that may just be confirming my suspicion that this isn't the fuel pump fuse, but the fuel injection system fuse. Right. I need to go make a cup of tea and have a think about where we go from here. Right, welcome back. It has been another week-ish, 6-7 days since we last touched this, and I've been doing a bit of thinking about it, and all the fighting around that we've done, yeah, we're getting to the point where we could keep testing and keep fighting around with it, but we're just avoiding the issue. We need to get the fuel pump out, and we need to do a proper bench test on it. So that's what's going to happen today. Come hell or high water, that fuel pump is coming out and it is getting tested. And if we have to order a new one, then so be it. So, we've started off. The battery is disconnected for safety reasons. We're going to be fighting around opening up the fuel system. Fuel vapours, last thing we want is a spark of, even a small spark will die. And it's on charge at the moment, not because there's anything wrong with it, but because with all the fighting around that we've been doing over the past few weeks, it's a bit flat. We're down to 11.5 volts, which is okay. If the car was in perfect working order, it would probably still start at that, but, you know, I want to keep this battery tip-top, because, well, we can't afford to keep throwing batteries at this thing. They ain't cheap. So, we're going to climb in the back, and clear all the crap out of the way. Yeah, this is probably going to be loud. There's going to be a lot of banging and thumping trying to get this fucking thing out. But, yeah, it's coming out one way or another right now. Right. So, we have two. I can't remember which way this goes now. Now that I look closely, there is actually evidence this has been out before, which is actually handy because it tells me which way I need to hammer this. Essentially what you've got, there is a special tool for this from Vauxhall, but I mean, whether or not you can actually get it still or how much it's going to cost, I don't know. But it also says in the manual that you can just use a fucking hammer and chisel or a screwdriver. You've essentially got to get this ring here to rotate, and then the whole thing will lift out. And yeah, there's evidence just here and here of someone's already been hammering away at it to get it out, so this may not be the original fuel pump in this vehicle. Right, there we go. Right, so we'll start and get that off. Here we go. Like that. Now, we'll get this ring off first before we undo the hoses. Anything we can do to avoid unnecessary fuel vapour. Oh, that's a lot of dust. But it's moving. Before anyone says anything, yes, I have taken adequate fire safety precautions. If something goes wrong, I'm going to fucking leg it that way and take the dog with me. There's about 12 miles of farmland that way. That should be enough to get away. The house will burn down, but yeah. Released. Get in there with it. It's now really seized on. I'm just going to double check the manual, make sure I am doing this the right way around. Yep, definitely anti-clockwise, which from my point of view is that way. Which makes sense, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. But you just get that feeling, am I doing this right? Let's just keep going. Maybe I need to just hit it harder. Yes, I do, I just need to hit it harder. There we go. The locking ring free. Kind of. Out you come. There we go. loose. We're probably going to need to undo these. It's coming. Come on. Yeah, they definitely need to come off. Pliers. I've just opened the passenger door as well. Now that this is unsealed, I mean, obviously this isn't smell-o-vision, so you can't tell, but it really smells of fuel in here now. Nice fresh fuel, but fuel. Ow, bastard. Oh, fucking hell, that's some skin off my knuckles. Oh, big fucking lump of it. Right. Guess that's all done. So next one off. There we go. There we go. A little bit of fuel. A little bit. A few droplets of fuel, nothing major. Because of course the pump isn't pumping. So. Out you come, fella. The fuel line's out of the way. Oh, it stinks now. That is the fuel tank. That is something just falling down into said tank. What was that? That was one of the fucking fuel clips. Shit. Take the other one off for safekeeping. Let's see if we can retrieve that later. I've got a magnet on a stick. Just that wiring's seen better days, but never mind. That is our fuel pump right there in the middle. How does one get it out? The feeling it has something to do with these clips. Yes. Here it comes. Oh, there's another clip. There we go. That's it, fella. Out you come. Right. That is out. Oh, a bit of fuel there as well. Never mind. There it is. Our fuel pump. I'll leave all the doors and windows open. We need to go and bench test this, but we're going to do it well away from all this shit because I do not want fucking sparks. We're going to do this on this is like the patio out the front of the house. We're outdoors and we've got a nice stone surface to do this on, so if it does go awry, nothing's going to catch fire. I can just stand up, walk away from it. I've got here this little, well, I call it a testing kit. It's basically a bit of speaker wire with some connectors on the end, although we've lost one of the connectors. And what we're just going to do is stick this on there like that. We're using the old battery. I haven't thrown it away yet. I haven't had a chance to get to the scrapyard. It's only got like 10 volts in it, but it should be enough to make this do something. And it doesn't say on it what it's rated for 12 volts, but I mean, I'd still expect a response from it. And we're just going to touch these onto here. So that one, that one. Nothing. They are definitely touching. Interesting. And we're getting 2 volts to the actual pump. That could just be resistance inside it. It should be making noise. Nothing. Now that is interesting. Just this testing has run that battery down by another volt. Now it is fucked. It needs to go in the bin. I still won't expect that from it. Alright, we're going to do one more thing. Because these ain't exactly cheap. We're going to try one more thing, and we're going to get the good battery out of the car once it's charged and plug that up to it. And if we still can't get, we should hear noises, it should start doing stuff. We're just putting pure power straight into it. If that still doesn't work, then it's fucked, we need a new one. I'm also just going to go and give it a bit of a bash with a hammer, see if that helps loosen it off. Right, well, I mean that's productive and a bit of a cock-up. It's a cock-up because I forgot to press fucking record, and I've got to put the battery back in the car now. But yeah, I hauled the good battery out, put it on the side, it's back up to 12.5 volts already, and there's life in it. Now, it's not running, but what it did is it would sort of jerk, and if I held it in my hand, I could feel it. It's trying to move, but it won't spin. And also the white... Hello, Bella, I know. You don't want this, no, it stinks. And it seemed to be drawing a lot of current because as I'm touching the wires onto the battery, it's arcing out. And the little bit of wiring that I was getting warm. Yeah, at one point the connector actually stuck to the battery terminal. I had to pull it off. I'll come down and I'll show you. There we go, I've put it back in the car now. If you look on the negative, the little dots right on the top, they weren't there. So, yeah, there's life in the girl. I think it's safe to say it is seized up, but we may be able to unseize it because it's trying to go. You know when you hold on to something and it's trying to move, you can feel it. That's what it was doing. So let's just go and give it some persuasion. This may or may not be the best thing to do to a fuel pump, but at this stage it's pretty screwed anyway. So we're going to start with some penetrating spray, WD-40. Get that in these holes. Oops. And in that one. Let's soak through. What, Bella? What is wrong with you today? See if we can get any in this top bit as well. Oh. Okay. And we're just gonna It's a shame there's no way of getting hold of like a shaft so I can see if it's spinning freely. The only thing we can do is this and then retest. There's the dog gone. And I tell you what, we'll let all the WD-40 dry because that's flammable on its own and it's soaked in it now. Oh, it doesn't say it's flammable. Oh no, danger contents are flammable. Yeah, we'll let that soak for a bit. What we'll do is we'll go and reseal up the fuel system because it fucking stinks out here at the moment. We're just gonna tuck all this lot away in there. That rubber seal back in place. And there's now loose wires inside my fuel tank as well, which, as you can imagine, is not ideal. The pissing seals come off. game of cat and mouse with this fucking seal. It just does not want to go in place. So this is our sender unit. I've just noticed, as we're putting this back together, the wiring on it, the insulation is all hardened and cracked. Now obviously we've disturbed it and that's all come off, so we now just have two bare wires that are going to short out and cause a spark in my fuel tank. So let's get that disconnected. Put these pissy little clips on, which do nothing but make it impossible to work on. Off you come, you git. There we go. Right. Thankfully, the insulation to the wiring to the pump is okay still, so. Find a way to rewire that later. That will be some fine soldering, which is always fun. For some reason or another, it's now choosing to sit proud and won't go back in with this fucking seal. This is one of the really annoying things about working on cars. So this has come out, and I'm putting it back exactly the same way, but it's sitting proud here. It just will not go in. There's no reason or rhyme to it. It just doesn't want to fucking cooperate, apparently. Because it won't sit flat, I can't get this locking round back in to seal it properly. I'm just going to hit it. Right, it's back in. I left the camera off because I was just getting really annoyed and sweary. But yeah, you've basically got to put this down on a rubber seal. And that rubber seal's obviously not quite thick, so you want a good seal, but it makes it a fucking pain in the ass to get it back in. In the end, I just ended up hammering that retaining ring into place, and then it all just seemed to slot in, and then it went in really easily. All I need to do was hammer the fuck out of it. I'll remember that for next time. We're leaving the plug disconnected because there's loose wires and such like in there. And for my own sanity, we're going to pull the battery completely out of the car, out of the engine bay. So there's absolutely no chance of any electrical power getting through this car. So we're going to go and play around the fuel pump, see if we can't get any life into that. And we also need to look at what we can do with this sender unit because the wires affect on it. Yeah, I'm thinking if it's cheap, I'm just going to order a new sender unit, the gauge. Yeah, sender unit for the fuel gauge. If not, then it looks fairly simple to solder. It's just whether or not I can be asked to do such fine work with it. So let's go have a fuck with the fuel pump. I think we'll give it one last chance to start spinning Beyond that, we're getting a new one.
Pindini doing the edit here. We're going to call that it for part 3. Already it's a bit longer than I want it to be, but as all my videos, that's just life. Now, a few bits happened after we stopped filming. I didn't film them because, well, they're quite boring. They're the less glamorous side of working on cars, especially older cars. Yeah, this one will be a classic in a few years. Yeah, it's about 2 years before it qualifies to be a classic. Basically, I was trawling the internet for hours looking for two things. What I kept calling the sender unit, otherwise known as the fuel level sensor. At the time of editing, I still don't have a new one, but that's not a terribly urgent job right now. And of course, the main causal part being the fuel pump. I did go away and keep fighting around with it, trying to hammer it, free it off. It was fucked. It just wasn't having it. So that's gone in the bin now, in the blue recycling bin. Not sure it was suitable for that, but that's where it went. And we ordered another one. Thankfully, I didn't have to pay £130, £150 as they were going for in places. I ended up actually getting one all the way from Germany, and I can't remember how much it was in euros, but it worked out about £30 with postage. And it arrived just as quick as if I'd ordered one from Euro Car Parts. They were saying they had like a 3 to 4 day lead time to get one of these parts for me, and this came all the way from Germany by post, which I'm quite impressed with. So, yeah, thank you for watching part 3. Part 4 is coming out shortly, just as soon as I've finished making it and I've worked out the release schedule for these 4 parts. So yeah, I'll see you in the next part of this then. And I promise you it is the final part. Probably. Thank you for watching this video on Pindini doing stuff and filming it. Please don't forget to press the big button here in the middle to subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you liked what you just saw, please click the like button below and leave a comment letting me know what you liked about it. And as always, thank you for watching.